So now I will dive deeper into the history of cosmic language, because that might be interesting to know a little bit more about Atlantis and how we used cosmic language before. So I have been mentioning this before, that we used cosmic language as a communication language between different civilizations when we were at Atlantis. So we had a very close contact with our star families in Atlantis. That we had a very strong contact with them, with the Pleiadians, with the Syrians and Orions and other different civilizations. And from what I remember, these are my memories that I'm going to share now. I do remember that we had towers, like communication towers, where we had these large quartz crystals on the roof of the tower. Like, I don't know how to, it's difficult to explain how large, but very large crystals, these with points on the roofs of these communication towers. And these crystals, they were facilitating contact with our star families. And I'm using quartz crystal. I don't have it with me right now, but I have this large quartz crystal where I communicate with my Pleiadian friends most of the time, and also the Galactic Federation of Light and my Syrian boss, my supervisor, who's giving me all the directions, my orders, what to do and not to do in my work. So I'm not using the crystal all the time, but when I start speaking with my Pleiadian friends, I use the crystal. So it's like my telephone, like my cell phone, like where I can text and speak to my star families. So these towers on Atlantis, they were having these large quartz crystals, and you were directing these quartz crystals to the different civilizations. It's like tuning in your radio to a radio station. That's the same thing. You're tuning into different frequencies. You set the frequency to that civilization that you would like to speak to. And it's the same thing when you do it telepathically. When you channel, you set the frequency to that like radio station, so to speak, by your intention. So that's how you're using. That's how you can tune into different channels where you're supposed to get information from. So what I remember, there was one person responsible for the communication from each tower. So there was one person for each tower taking care of the communication with different civilizations. So they were specialized in communication with these civilizations. I call them, in Swedish, I call it like transcriptor, like transcriptor or transcriber. So they were translating. They were translators of the information, just as a channel in these days. But so it's very similar to channeling, but it's a more direct communication. And it's more like, speaking on the cell phone in that sense. So it's a more direct communication that we used to have in Atlantis with other civilizations. And these transcriptors or translators of information, they gave the information that they got. They interpreted the information. And also cosmic language was this language of communication, like these codes. These translators, these transcriptors or transcribers, they gave the information to the high priestesses and high priests. They gave the information to them so they could decide on different subjects and talk to the other leaders. So the information that this transcriptor got on Atlantis, that was the instructions for the development of the Atlantean civilization. We got information on technologies from these civilizations. We got information on different solutions to problems and like society, technology, astronomy, different information and wisdom that they wanted to share with us that could strengthen our development of our civilization and in the civilization as a whole, that we can come up to the next level. So it was like these teachings. They gave us different teachings, and there were a lot of communication just before this civilization, before the Atlantis fell, like the last fall of Atlantis. There were a lot of communication from them. We got information on how to handle the dark forces and what to do, how to navigate in that process, and the different steps. We had plan A, and then we got to plan B because the plan A didn't work out. And so to summarize it, we had a lot of communication with different civilizations in Atlantis during that time compared to today. So if I speak about cosmic language, so that is a mixture of the language of Atlantis, but where we speak, the language that we spoke on Atlantis, like Atlanteans language. So it's a mixture of that language and a language on the quote-unquote language of the Pleiades, Orion, and Sirius, and probably other civilizations as well. So it's a mixture of Atlantean language and the quote-unquote language of other civilizations. It is a simplified language in a way, even though it's very sophisticated and contains a lot of information, a lot of codes. It's also, on the contrary, it's also a simplified language. It's like Esperanto. You might have heard of Esperanto. If you haven't heard about Esperanto, go look it up. It's I think it's Latin based, and it's very similar to like Spanish, Italian, French. It's like a mixture. It's very simplified language. So it was supposed to be like an universal Esperanto, so we could speak with each other and like in the world, the whole world, and also with other civilizations. So it's a very simplified language. It's a universal language that we could understand that could be understood by many other civilizations, and also Agartha, the inner earth. It was supposed to be a language for spoken language for the whole world, but it didn't end up that way, unfortunately. So it's a mixture of spoken language and also translation of the telepathic codes. So it's light codes as sounds, words, and words are, I'm supposed to say, like words are like a translation of these codes. So the cosmic language is like light codes as sounds, and the words are a translation of these, so they can be more accessible to us, even though it's not supposed to be understood. It's not supposed to be accessible. We can't get access to all the information because we're not on that level. Because cosmic language, and I assume also light language, is on a so much higher level that we cannot understand, we cannot perceive all the information, all the light codes that are packed. So that's why we're just taking it into our hearts and into our cells and our bodies. And of course, other civilizations, they use telepathy when they speak, even though they have been using, spoken language as well. And because you might wonder, it's like, oh, but they don't speak. They use telepathy, and we use spoken language. So that's why this communication language, cosmic language, is spoken in a way. Because but they are not using that. Other civilizations are not using spoken language, but this is a language so they can meet us where we are, so we can understand, so we can make this contact with them more natural. So the language acts as a bridge between worlds. It acts as a bridge between our world and other worlds, and it facilitates the real first contact. And it's also why it is so important. It is so important right now. Cosmic language is so important right now because we're stepping into the next phase where we're supposed to prepare for first contact. So this is a preparation. Cosmic language is a preparation for first contact, and we're supposed to prepare right now. Okay. Because when we prepare right now and we start speaking cosmic language, when they come, it will be so much more natural to actually communicate and to get in contact with them, because we can use cosmic language to communicate with them. Of course, they don't need spoken language to communicate with us, because they use telepathy, and we're using telepathy with them as well. But cosmic language is like a bridge to be able to make it much easier. So when they land, we can start speaking cosmic language with them, and because we have already spoken it for several years now, when we're starting it right now, so we can feel safe, and also that's why I also encourage you to give this information to your friends if they're open to this kind of information. So please share this video and other videos I have on cosmic language, because the more people that are using cosmic language, the more people who knows about it, the faster we're getting to the time of first contact that we all are longing for so much, right? So please share with your friends, because if we can spread this cosmic language, we can accelerate first contact. So if I would summarize how we've been using cosmic language and how we can use cosmic language, it's a universal Esperanto for contact with other civilizations. So it's a simplified language. And we have used the language before in our history, and that's why people are recognizing it when they listen to it. It is a preparation for first contact and to use it in first contact. And it's light codes that activates us as a part of the ascension process, and to activate us so we can start speaking cosmic language.